Wolverine is the single most popular X-Men ever, but he still has plenty of secrets not everyone knows about. James Howlett was born in Alberta, Canada, at the end of the 19th century. Yep, he's around 140 years old. He was the result of an affair between Elizabeth Howlett, wife of the owner of Howlett State, and the family's groundskeeper, Thomas Logan. John Howlett, her husband, raised James as his son. Of course, James didn't know this, which set things up for tragedy. But how? Let us explain. Thomas Logan had another son, a kid named Dog, who exhibited violent traits from the very beginning and who was actually Wolverine's half-brother. One day, Dog killed James's puppy and attempted to molest Rose O'Hara, another good friend of the kids. James told his father, so Thomas and Dog were exiled from the estate in Wolverine, The Origin #2, October 2001. The thing is that Thomas didn't go without a fight. After being fired, he got drunk and impulsively invaded the Howlett's house with a shotgun in hand. Thomas killed John in cold blood right in front of James. As it happens with most mutants, this traumatic experience triggered his mutation. James went crazy with rage, attacking Thomas and his son with new bone claws coming from his knuckles. After seeing this, Elizabeth killed herself using Thomas's gun, leaving James to fend for himself in Wolverine, The Origin #3, November 2001. While on the run, James changed his name to Logan. After this, it still took around half a century before Logan became Wolverine. Before that, he went through a lot. For a while, Logan lived with a foreman, Smitty, who taught him everything he knew. However, in Wolverine, The Origin #6, May 2022, after showing his claws for the first time in public and accidentally killing Rose, he had to escape. He ended up living with a literal wolf pack, attending to his most feral instincts, leaving his humanity behind. It was around this time that he met death for the first time in Marvel's Voices #1, February 2020. The entity appeared in front of his eyes when he found a massacred Native American camp. Logan asked Death to kill him, but it refused, as it has done ever since. It was already the 20th century when Logan went back to living among humans, but he was actually forced. In 1907, after being forced to join Hugo the Great Circus in Origin, the Seku #2, January 2014, Logan stumbled upon Saul Creed and his sister Clara. In Origin 2 #5, April 2014, Logan eventually killed Saul, which prompted the older Creed sibling Victor to seek revenge. This was the beginning of Wolverine and Sabretooth's long-lived rivalry. Obviously, Logan escaped Victor this time, but they would see again tons of times after that. Now, following his escape from the circus, Wolverine wandered for a while. Around 1910, Logan joined the Canadian Army. After all, fighting was one of his few talents. A couple of years later, World War I started. Logan ended up in Europe with his squad, using his powerful healing factor to be an absolute asset. After fighting the Great War, Logan kept working on his military career. Following World War II, Logan wandered Japan, eventually setting his home at Jasmine Falls, as shown in Wolverine Volume 3 #30, March 2006. Here, Logan almost found peace thanks to his friend Bando Saburo. Logan also fell in love with Itsu. They married and she became pregnant with their kid, Akihiro. But fate had something else prepared for the mutant. Something bad, of course. A confusing incident with the demon swordsmith Muramasa caused Logan to stab an innocent man with his claws. Since everyone in the village witnessed this, he was banished from Jasmine Falls. While trying to say goodbye to his family, he discovered the Winter Soldier had killed Itsu. Blind with rage, Logan returned to Muramasa, requesting a proper blade to kill whoever had ruined his family. This powerful sword served as his main weapon for a while. Let's skip to the 60s, when Wolverine's modern history begins. By this decade, the mutant was an absolute killing machine. As shown in Wolverine Volume 2 #49, October 2001, he was now known as Wolverine. And he was part of a Black Ops US government operation, the Weapon X Project, a sort of suicide squad to deal with mutant threats. This shady project was responsible for the adamantium on Logan's bones. They turned him into their personal weapon, used to kill tons of innocents while brainwashed. But a part of Logan was still aware of his true nature, so he eventually escaped, as revealed in X-Men Volume 2 #7, February 1992. After escaping the Weapon X program, Wolverine wandered in the woods for a while, ended up as a spy for Canada's government, and eventually he was approached by Charles Xavier, who offered him a place in his mutant community. This was the beginning of a decades-long partnership between Logan and the X-Men. He has been in countless rosters, he has fought hundreds of X-Men villains, and he has been an important member of the community in some of the most complicated times for the mutant race, like Krakoa's downfall. Since then, Wolverine has been with the Avengers, X-Force, CIA, and even the Midnight Suns. However, the X-Men are his main team, and he's among the most popular popular members ever. We would dare say he's the single most popular X-Men ever. When he first discovered he was a mutant, Logan learned he had long, retractable bone claws coming out of his knuckles, which he can use to fight. Then, the Weapon X program made them even more dangerous by coating them, as well as Logan's whole skeleton. With adamantium, an indestructible steel alloy that can tear down pretty much everything in the world, adamantium is actually made through a secret formula that only a few people know. It makes sense that many villains have tried to strip Wolverine of his share of the powerful element. He's filled with it. In fact, his bones aren't just coated in adamantium, but they have transformed into an alloy known as adamantium beta. The combination of adamantium and organic cells makes sure that adamantium wouldn't interfere with Logan's creation of blood cells. Now, Logan's adamantium claws are probably his most distinctive trait. However, these aren't his main mutation. The X-Man's main superpower is his incredibly fast and effective healing factor. Many superheroes have this kind of regenerative ability. Super soldiers can heal faster than most people, and they have a higher pain tolerance. However, Wolverine takes the cake. The mutant's body heals faster than even the most powerful super soldiers. Some even believe that the speed at which he heals is proportional to the damage he receives. This means bullet and stab wounds simply close in seconds without leaving any permanent damage. Wolverine's healing factor can handle pretty much anything thrown at the mutant. He can regenerate pretty much every organ, tissue, or cell damaged in battle. He can still feel the pain, but nothing will kill him. Thanks to his healing factor, Wolverine is immune to any poison, virus, or illness in the world, as well as to drugs. He manages to get drunk, but it takes huge amounts of alcohol. Additionally, Logan is somewhat immune to telepathy. The explanation for this is that his regeneration skills have created a barrier out of mental scar tissue. Of course, some of the most powerful telepaths in the Marvel Universe, like Quentin Quire, have broken the barrier. Finally, Logan's healing factor slows down his aging. Remember how we said he was around 140 years old? Well, he obviously doesn't show it, but this is all due to his regenerative mutation. Funnily enough, Wolverine doesn't control his healing factor. In fact, there have been times when he wished he would die, and that was simply not an option for him. This regeneration is both a blessing and a curse at times. Logan's healing factor is his best defensive skill, but even his adamantium claws wouldn't help him kill his enemies if he were a regular man besides that. Of course he isn't. Wolverine also possesses superhuman strength thanks to his adamantium-coated skeleton. He can lift up to 2 tons. This isn't a lot considering heroes like Hulk can lift 100, but it's still plenty compared with regular humans. Wolverine can also move at superhuman speed, and he's immune to physical exertion, which means he can fight for days without getting tired. Additionally, he has superhuman agility. Logan uses all these abilities in combat, combining them with his martial arts expertise and his bone claws. Finally, he has super senses. Like a predator, he can hear his enemies from very far away, as well as smell them, almost like a hound. These skills, combined with his telescopic vision, make him an amazing tracker. Such a powerful mutant, it would be easy to assume Wolverine has no weaknesses, but this isn't the case. Wolverine is incredibly powerful and pretty much immortal, but there's still some stuff that can hurt him. Of course, he keeps this information secret, since his enemies would have too much power over him otherwise. First, it's his super senses. Yes, they make him an amazing tracker. However, some enemies have used Wolverine's acute sense against him, because he can get sensory overload easily, since he can pick up anything. For example, Hulk's thunderclaps completely affect him. Another big weakness of this brutal mutant is the Muramasa blade. Since it was created with a piece of his soul, this sword is the only weapon that can wound him in a way that his healing factor can barely handle. Yes, the Muramasa blade was Wolverine's weapon for a while, but then he lost it. In fact, one of his kids, Daken, put some of the shards on his own claws. You can imagine they have a complicated relationship. Then, there's adamantium itself. Wolverine's skeleton is coated with a specific type of this alloy. However, there are around a dozen types with small but significant variations. When Logan is close to one of these, he often experiences certain illness symptoms, like dizziness. It's as if adamantium was both his best weapon and his personal kryptonite. Finally, Wolverine's most effective vulnerability, water, or more specifically, drowning. We have told you that Wolverine can regenerate every tissue of his body, so killing him is very difficult, but not impossible. Wolverine can be killed by drowning since he would eventually pass out due to the lack of oxygen in the brain. The thing is that since his brain would try to regenerate before this happens, it would take a while, making it a torturous death as he struggles for air longer than the average human. To make things worse, once he's truly out of it, his heavy adamantium-laced body would just sink to the bottom, so his odds of surviving would decrease by the second. Wolverine is very aware that he wouldn't float, so he's actually afraid of drowning. He has admitted before that he isn't fond of water. This is actually his biggest fear. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? Such a simple fear for a man who can survive pretty much anything else in the world. Considering life has been incredibly hard for him, Logan is a cynical man. He leans into violence easily, he doesn't apologize for it, and he doesn't question the morality of his own actions very often. Given this, it's surprising that he actually leans into religion at times. Logan doesn't subscribe to a specific religion, like Matt Murdock and Kurt Wagner, who are both fervent Catholics. This makes sense. He has always been a very self-reliant man with a personal code. However, he still believes there's a God with a capital G out there, so he actually prays. In the comics, he has been shown praying at Shinto temples, Catholic churches, and synagogues. However, he doesn't pray to any specific god. Instead, we just know he talks to a higher entity. It's interesting he has literally met cosmic entities and fought alongside gods like Hercules or Thor. Still, he believes there's one out there that actually listens to his prayers. He also thinks there's an afterlife, even if he isn't fully sold on how it works. In House of X number 4, September 2019, when Wolverine and Nightcrawler sacrificed themselves to prevent the coming of Nimrod and stop Mother Moid, Wolverine asked his Catholic friend if he thought there was something for someone like him on the other side. Logan actually feels guilty about many things he has done, and religion is obviously a way of coping with this. It's definitely better than what he usually does, which generally involves alcohol and self-deprecating ideas. Most superheroes with families actually team up with them or at least have them around, but Wolverine doesn't. This is why most people don't know that the mutant actually has several kids. He has been alive for 140 years. It makes sense that he has a large offspring. Some of Logan's kids are just as powerful as he is, while others are even more dangerous than their father. Most viewers know Laura Kinney very well thanks to the 2017 movie Logan. However, X-23 is not Wolverine's most powerful kid. That's actually Akihiro. Remember him? After World War II, Logan moved to Jasmine Falls and had a kid with Itsu. Then the Winter Soldier killed Itsu and Akihiro. Or so he thought. As it turns out, Akihiro survived. He was taken by Romulus, the cruel warlord, from his dead mother's womb, and then taken to a Japanese, wealthy family to be raised. In this mansion, he only knew rejection, with the servants calling him Daken, the Japanese word for mongrel. He eventually took this moniker. Akihiro's adoptive mother wasn't better. The woman was never kind to him, so he grew resentful and eventually killed her, leading her father to kill himself. At this moment, Romulus returned, ready to reap what he had sown. Romulus took the boy in and trained him. He also told him that Wolverine had killed his mother, so Daken would kill Logan. It took a while for Daken to learn the truth behind Romulus' words, but he felt that it was too late for him to become a hero. Instead, he leaned into the anti-hero profile, even joining the Dark Avengers as the new Wolverine. Like most Wolverine kids, Daken also has sharp bone claws that allow him to be incredibly brutal in battle. What's more, he also possesses a powerful healing factor. However, what truly makes him stand out among all his half-siblings is the fact that he can control others. Daken is a pherokinetic mutant. This means he uses his pheromones to alter others' emotions and lead them to act differently. He can't force them to do anything as if he were using mind control, but he can make his victims feel fear, sadness, or even a false sense of security. This is a great tool in combat. More recently, Akihiro was bonded to Bagragul, and he now has a Helverine transformation. So, on top of everything, he can use hellfire as well as hell magic. How cool is that? He's definitely Wolverine's heir, but he takes things a bit further. While Wolverine's comics history is vast, he's also had a huge impact in live action. Debuting in X-Men 2000, Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine has become iconic for most fans. However, the wildly praised Logan 2017 was meant to be the official send-off for the character, with Logan dying at the end. However, in comic series and franchises connected to a multiverse, death is rarely the end. Hugh Jackman's debut in the MCU during Deadpool and Wolverine opened a door that everyone thought was closed. And of course, now we want more. Jackman's Wolverine is, after all, one of the best casts in superhero history. But could he return to the MCU? Considering the multiversal nature of Avengers, Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, we are sure the movies will be packed with amazing cameos. Also, many of Jackman's co-stars from the X-Men movies, including Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and Rebecca Roman, have already been confirmed for Avengers Doomsday. Jackman could easily return to the role for a couple of extra scenes alongside Deadpool. However, likely he wouldn't stay in the role for too long, would he? If the MCU plans to completely reboot the X-Men for the next saga, it wouldn't make sense for Jackman to stay. Still, the MCU X-Men wouldn't be the X-Men without a proper Wolverine, so Marvel Studios better bring the mutant back, even if he isn't portrayed by Hugh Jackman.
Did you stick the landing, little guy?
Yes, you did, comic-accurate short king.
Would you like to see Logan back in the MCU, or maybe Daken could continue the legacy? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, thanks for watching CBR.